Hi, I'm John Hart, and welcome back to Mr. America Hart. All right, what is the best training routine for natural bodybuilders? For naturals, if you're natural, if you're not using any sort of enhancements, that would be anabolic steroids, growth hormones, insulin, and the like, any performance-enhancing drugs, what would be the best training program possible? Well, let's think about this for a moment. There would be several ingredients involved here, okay? One of them would have to be, the routine would have to be set up so that your body would be able to recover from the workouts. You see, if you're running on your natural juice and you don't have testosterone or any exogenous hormones running through your system that you've injected or taken as a pill form, then we're talking about you running on your natural testosterone levels. That is the case, you're going to need to be able to recover from your workouts. After you work out, after you dig a hole of energy in your system, you need to fill that energy back in, and any damage caused, that damage needs to be repaired, and then your body will overcompensate. Recovery precedes growth, in other words. Anabolic steroids and all of those performance-enhancing drugs that I just mentioned, they speed the whole process up, which means you can train that much sooner. So whereas an anabolically enhanced bodybuilder may be able to train every couple of days, any body part every couple of days for that matter, much along the lines of what we've seen Arnold Schwarzenegger talk about back in the 1970s. Whether he did or he didn't actually do those routines year-round is not the question. Okay, we know for a fact that he did use those types of routines, training each body part 2 or 3 times per week for at least half the year, leading up to each one of his Mr. Olympias. And he openly bragged about such things in all of his interviews. But it's besides the fact that all of his training partners to this day, the older men who trained with him back in the day, have told stories of training with him and how a lot of them did suffer with injuries and stuff training that way. But the bottom line became that he was in fact training that way. So that's the example that we have from the golden era and from the 1970s. It's already been done multiple times per week, training a body part by enhanced bodybuilders. These are self-admitted. Arnold admitted it, that he used anabolic steroids. He wasn't natural. Okay? So that being the case, we have a real-life example of what it did, and we have some champions back in the day that trained that way for sure. The problem is that they got older, the injuries that they incurred to their body. Whoa, watch out. We're talking about massive tendinitis, massive torn muscles. We're talking about, they looked like walking wounded as they got older, which was pretty bad. But the reality check on that is that that type of routine was designed by Arnold in the golden era for drug-enhanced bodybuilders. That's not natural. So to this day, we don't have the actual study done on natural bodybuilders purely to see what would get those kind of results. What we do have is empirical, anecdotal. What we do have is an entire generation of natural bodybuilders over the years who have been training without the drugs and competing at a world-class level in natural bodybuilding. I've done such myself, and I can tell you that training those body parts more than once per week were rough. Getting even the thought of training more than once per week, it was absolutely brutal, because as a natural, you don't recover fast enough to be ready to train the next time out, much less having grown new muscle. So as a natural competitive bodybuilder, that was my major concern, was building as much muscle as possible, training, competing with as much muscle mass as possible. So to me, it became a simple equation. I took some of the reasonings of men such as Dorian Yates and Mike Menser and Arthur Jones back in the day. But these men had hypothesized and theorized and then put into practice with clients training the least amount necessary to get the most results. And recovery was taken into account with that type of training. So those kind of workouts required training each body part about once per week or once every 8 days in general, maybe 9 even for some naturals. A lot of the men that I competed against in my career, that's how they trained. Some of them, they refused to go that route and they did the typical standard, a couple times a week on each body part, training every single day, all of that. And they did fine for themselves, but the majority of us trained just each body part once per week. So that being the case, I go with what's been seen and been done by the natural bodybuilding community. Sorry, but I don't know anybody in the natural bodybuilding community who did train each body part 2 or 3 times per week, a la the latest many studies that people keep commenting on. I'm sure that there are studies out there, but they're all short-term, in my opinion, going for 8 or 12 weeks, max 16 weeks. I think I saw one study. But that's only anywhere from 2 to 4 months of training. That's not year-round. That's not going a few years. That's not even 6 months. I haven't seen any of that. So the best training program for the natural is, in fact, training that we know of, training each body part once per week. And how many days per week? That depends on the individual. If you can recover and grow on, so this is the individual's opinion and their recovery ability, right? If you can recover and grow on training every other day, train every other day. Design a workout routine where you train every other day. In the course of 7 days or 8 days, you've trained the entire body one time through. Fantastic. Just make sure you're able to recover and grow from those workouts and come back a little bit stronger next time you work out. That's really the answer. So for all of the current day studies, I keep doing these quote air quotes because they're just not taking into consideration specifically natural bodybuilders, not that I see. And even if they were, it's too short of a term. So it doesn't take into consideration the fact that, most of us train year-round and with a great deal of intensity. So how should those workouts be designed? I'll give you an example. You train Monday. You chest, biceps, forearms. Come on in on Wednesday. Train just your back. Maybe back and calves. That's a good workout. Now we have our chest, our biceps, our forearms, our back, our calves. Friday, you come on in, shoulders, triceps. And then Sunday, you come in and you do your thighs, your quads, your hamstrings, and your abs. That's the entire body, all in the course of 7 straight days. Then take a day off and repeat the cycle. That's just an example off the top of my head. But it's a great routine for a natural bodybuilder. So you can take what I've said, you can get a hold of some of my books. I've written several books on the subject. Best one to date, Physique 101. You can get a hold of that on my website. I'll put down below the link to my website, mramericahart.com. You can download it. You can get a paperback copy of it as well. Sure do appreciate it. You'll go ahead and you'll see plenty of information and details on diet, training, exercise. It's all in there. Stretching, it's in there. So take a look at it, won't you? And off to my left, before I go, you're going to see a circle pop up. That disc, that's the subscribe button for my channel. If you're liking the videos that I'm doing, please go ahead and give that thing a tap. And off to my right, you're going to see, and down below, you're going to see a thumbs up button. Once you give that thing a tap, turn it blue. It gives the YouTube algorithm a real good vibration. It lets them know that you like Mr. America Hart. That's it for today. From my heart to you, John Hart. I'll see you soon.